Hello, popcorn lovers, and welcome back to another episode of Become a Popcorn Genius. I'm your host, Frank DeMeo, and today we're diving into a topic that's both fascinating and fundamental to our favorite snack, the science of popping. So grab your kernels and let's get ready to explore the wonders behind the delightful pop. Popcorn is more than just a tasty treat. It's a marvel of nature and science. And at the heart of it all is the popcorn kernel, a tiny but mighty seed that holds the secret to the pop. If you want to take a look at the slides that we're showing in relation to the science of the popcorn popping, check us out on our YouTube podcast channel, Become a Popcorn Genius, where you'll see all the visuals. So here we have our popcorn kernel. And unlike most grains, the pericarp or hull of the popcorn kernel is both hard and impervious to moisture, and it contains about 91% fiber. So this is the outer shell of the popcorn kernel. Inside of that is what's called the endosperm, and that's made of a soft and hard, dense starch, which has a little bit of oil and water. And ideally, you want your popcorn kernel to have 14% moisture inside. So 14% of that kernel should be moisture. And then we have the germ. So that's the seed embryo, and it's really the only living part of the popcorn kernel, and that's a tiny plant inside the seed. So when you're trying to grow popcorn, that is the part that actually germinates. And then we have the tip cap. And the tip cap is really the attachment point. That's where the kernel is attached to the corn cob and where the nutrients and water flows. So from the plant into the corn cob, and then it flows into the seed through that tip cap. And the tip cap is the only part that is not covered by the pericarp. So it doesn't have that really hard layer to it, and it contains fiber. Here we have our kernel, and when we start to heat the kernel, okay, we turn the heat on, the water inside that endosperm or that starch begins to heat up, okay, and it starts to turn into steam. And that's when the magic starts to happen. So the kernel's outer shell, the hull, known as the pericarp, is incredibly strong, right? It doesn't allow the steam to escape. And as the temperature rises, the starch inside, right, that endosperm starch inside turns gelatinous. And the pressure inside the kernel builds to an impressive 135 psi, or pounds per square inch. And the temperature reaches about 356 degrees. And it's at that point the shell erupts and the molten starch inside expands quickly, and you get that pop. And it basically turns the kernel inside out and forms that crunchy puff on the outside. And here you can see, right, it begins at that tip cap because that doesn't have that hard shell on it, and it starts to open up and then expand into that popcorn kernel. And so what makes popcorn different from other seeds is the ability to withstand that pressure inside until just the right moment. And when that kernel can no longer contain the pressure, it explodes in a rapid burst, and it turns its side inside out, and it creates that fluffy white popcorn that we all love. It's really the only thing that you eat after a tiny mini explosion, which is kind of cool in itself. So it's this unique combination of moisture, pressure, and starch that really makes popcorn the only type of corn that can pop. And it's why getting the moisture level just right is so crucial. Because if you have too little moisture, the kernel won't pop because it doesn't have that moisture in there to turn into steam. And if you have too much water in there, you'll end up with a tough, chewy popcorn. So the next time you're enjoying a bowl of popcorn, remember that there's a whole lot of science in every pop, from the moisture in the kernel to the pressure buildup and the rapid explosion. It's really a fascinating process that turns a simple seed into a beloved snack. And that's the beauty of popcorn. It's a perfect blend of nature and science, creating a snack that's not only delicious, but also a little bit of miraculous. So thanks for joining me today on Become a Popcorn Genius as we explore the science of popping. I hope you found it as intriguing as I do. Be sure to tune in next time for more popcorn insights and fun. Until then, popcorn reminds us that the simplest things can bring the most joy. So cherish the small moments because they can make life truly flavorful. So get out there and get poppin'.